Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Behind the Group podcast. I am DJ Keo.
And I am Basil Barrington, and we are back with another film review. Today, we are
Mhm.
going to take a look at Wolves. This is an Apple TV original film. IMDb gave this a 6.5, man. What do you think about that?
I think that's fair.
Hmm.
I like the movie, but it's like this is a rainy day movie that you just get some popcorn and you sit down with your girl and just watch something real quick because you can't find anything on TV. That's what this is.
Yeah.
I would not have gone to the theater to watch this. I'll put it
No,
like
come
that.
on. Come
But at
on.
the same time, I liked it. I thought it was all right. Like that's the thing. It was just okay. It wasn't terrible. It's okay. They set up a little bit of the world building there. Like it's
Hmm.
it's interesting that if there was another one, I would probably watch it. I like Brad
Well,
Pitt. I like George Clooney.
this
So
is, yeah.
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 Sorry, go ahead, go ahead.
No, I mean, like you're right. Like, and the thing about it is, it looks like the way they ended the joint, there has to be a
Mhm.
sequel. And this is the
Yeah.
other thinking, right? Because we are
Mhm.
dealing with Hollywood royalty, Brad Pitt,
Mhm.
George Clooney, who's probably a billionaire from selling his tequila
They
company,
got
right?
they got money on the
He's
side,
got
not
money on
from
the side.
films.
You know what I'm
They
saying?
got
They
money
not
on the
only
side,
acted in
yeah.
this joint, but they also EP'd it, executive produced it. In the way,
Mhm.
I think for George Clooney and Brad Pitt, they would never
Mhm.
end a film with a cliffhanger like that and not come back with a sequel. What do you think?
I It's definitely designed to have a sequel. Like the world building they have with the mobsters and all this other stuff. Like it was interesting. I like the acting was good.
Hmm.
The dialogue between them was good. Like there was no banter. I'm like, come on, why would they say that? Like it they had like a little bit of jokes. Like it was lighthearted, a little
Yeah,
violent towards the end, but like it was mostly lighthearted, just chill. It was an easy Sunday afternoon, right? That's all I
yeah,
can say. It's nice and chill, nice
yeah,
relaxing movie. And
exactly.
I think they made it so that the girlfriends can watch and be like, oh, what is this? Like
Yeah,
that's what they made it for.
right.
They made it comfortable because it could have been way more violent than that.
It could have been, but they it was very light. Like I said, I did watch it. Like I started watching it and just finished it.
Yeah,
One
it's a
take. I
one
was like,
setting. Just
yeah.
boom, knock it out.
And the reason why is because, not all films I can sit through, definitely here at home. It's different if you're in the
Mhm.
theater, and I don't do the theaters. But,
Yeah,
sometimes if a film is just like corny, I'm just like, I'll come back to it like over 2 or 3 days. But
yeah.
this one was interesting enough to sit down and watch it from start to end. And it wasn't that
Mhm.
long either. I mean, it
Yeah,
was
it's
a,
pretty short.
it,
It zooms by.
yeah,
It zooms by pretty fast.
exactly. You were saying something offline, how you were saying like, you know, Brad Pitt and George Clooney, there was a bidding war for this. Explain that.
Yeah. So I think it was supposed to be released on a in a theater
Mm.
initially. And then, I would not have watched this in the
Mm-mm.
theater. I will say that right now. This was
No,
a Netflix movie. This is a
all
Apple
day.
TV movie.
Yeah.
But anyways, they did a bidding war for it, and Netflix, Amazon, and a couple of companies are trying to get it, and then Apple put out the biggest bid, and so they on the Apple Plus right now.
Yeah.
And I, this is the thing. I like the movie because I'm not telling anybody not to watch it. Like it's worth if you have Apple TV, Apple Plus, whatever,
It's
it's
there.
worth watching. Like
Yeah.
it's just a nice Sunday afternoon movie
Yeah.
watching, and its experience is good. The plot is okay. I just think it probably could have used a little bit more action and a little more, like drama, because it's fairly straightforward what happens. There's a couple of comedic bits, like when they go see the Serbian mobsters,
Yeah.
like when they go see them, they got to do a dance
Albanians. The
routine. Like it's just
Albanians.
yeah, it's just light fun.
Hmm.
Light fun that no one's gonna be like, oh, I can't believe I'm watching this. Oh, this is too violent. Like it's just light-hearted fun.
It's a good
And
watch.
it's a good watch. It was
Yeah. Hmm.
funny. It's got a good moments there. Like it's good stuff. I liked it. It's straightforward, man. That's all
Yeah.
you can say about it. It's a straightforward movie.
Exactly. You want to give a brief overview of Wolves and then we can like really get into it?
Yeah. So basically, this is a movie about two fixers, kind of like Pulp Fiction. There was a guy in Pulp Fiction named the Wolf,
Mm-hmm.
and he came in there and he cleaned up the car. He helped these guys remove the body, get the brain off the ceiling. That's what he was in the movie, and
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of what this thing is. The fixer that you got a body in your hotel room, and you're attorney general for New York City. You'll call in a fixer, and this person's going to get fix this, solve this thing, give you alibi, get you
Yeah.
out of the way. And it's exactly the same job that the guy had in Pulp Fiction. That's why I was like the wolf, right? And
Mm-hmm.
immediately I was like, yeah, this is
We
Pulp
know what it
Fiction.
is.
Yeah, so this is the plot here.
Mm-hmm.
So the hotel calls in the fixer, and was the lady? She was attorney general or something like that. She was high up
Very
in
powerful
politics.
woman. Mm-hmm.
She's a very powerful person who had a dude in her room, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so she called somebody too. So there's two fixers that showed up, and they get into hijinks after. That's the movie
That's
here.
basically it,
And the two people are Brad Pitt and George Clooney.
Right. Uh-huh.
So it's kind of like, oh, this is comforting. These very
And,
nice white guys came and showed up. So
right.
that's basically what
And
happened.
why that's weird is because if you're a fixer, you work alone.
By yourself.
You work alone. You don't work with anyone else. So so when they both showed up, they had misgivings
like
about each other. You know what I'm saying?
When the beginning of this movie, I laughed. Dude, Brad Pitt was being a dick, right?
Yeah, for real. Mm-hmm.
He got the coke and he's like, "I'll be a supervisor right now." I laughed, man. I was so ridiculous.
I was trying to find out the budget of this film. Were you able to find that?
No, I'm pretty sure they spent for the action to make the movie. They had to spend like $30-40 million to make this movie. Because like there's no crazy car explosions and stuff like that. All the locations are pretty straightforward. I think the budget would have just been the George Clooney and Brad Pitt.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like $30 million just seemed like that was the pay for Brad and George. So I think I immediately thought because it's them, 100 million. That's what I immediately thought.
Well, I mean, like the budget came from those two people because like I recognize the kid's father. I know him. And the lady, the attorney general at the beginning of the movie, I've seen her before.
Yeah,
she's in The Wire.
Yeah.
So like I've seen a couple people in it, but like there's nobody major. There's no major.
Yeah, that's true.
Characters in the thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Budget was just those two guys.
So they paid
and because
for
they produced it,
right? Okay.
But because they produced it, I think the budget was probably like super low because they're acting in their movie. So that's why I said like 40 million to make this thing.
And everything was shot. This movie was shot in the Bronx because when I first saw it,
yeah, like, the bridge and some of the other stuff.
Even the streets, I was like, wow, these streets are pretty big. This is not Manhattan, right?
Yeah, it's not Manhattan.
It's not Manhattan. Not. This got to be the Bronx or like the Queens or something like that. I knew it was in New York. You know what I'm saying? So,
they didn't say anything about the location. This is Chinatown, but like they didn't really give you a good indication about where this thing's taking place. But they're implying it's Manhattan, and that's not Manhattan, right?
Right. So
both of us have been to New York. That's not Manhattan.
Dude, I lived there for a long time. I kind of grew up in Jersey and New York.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
right. Mm-hmm. So, but it's really interesting because when you think about like the plot of this film, the fixers, they appear at a job. Both of them. So that's a no.
It's straightforward. Yeah.
Right. And then once they realize that, hey, this boy or, this young man who this woman brought upstairs, who they thought was dead, had like, a bag of like bricks in his, he had bricks in his bag, right? Basically 4 bricks, right? And he was supposed to drop them off to the Albanians, who they're pretty big in the Bronx too, so that was kind of spot on. But and then it's just like, oh well, you dealing with the Albanian drug lords and everything like that, dude. That's totally different. Totally different. With some other,
these are not people you mess with.
Totally different.
Like, lost your drugs. Like,
it's just like,
let's just map this as Eastern Europeans are a problem for being gangsters. And Eastern, just across the board.
Even Brad Pitt and George Clooney in the movie, they were like, Albanians? Oh man, what have we gotten ourselves into? But they
Yeah,
wanted
yeah,
this
yeah.
guy, they wanted this little boy, I guess because
Mhm.
there's some like sort of, I don't know if there's a some sort of code with being a wolf, but they were like,
No, because it
dude, you
think
got to
that the
finish the
logic,
job.
the way George Clooney set it up, his
Mhm.
logic was, if this kid can tell us where we got to drop these drugs off, we have to deal with this as a giant problem for the rest of our lives.
Right.
Like,
Mhm.
that's basically what it was like. Yo, if we can get this kid to figure this thing out, we're good to go. We go home, go back to eating our coffee, drinking our coffee, and we call it a day. That's
Yeah.
basically what his logic was, and it's sound logic.
Mhm.
I mean, it made sense. I immediately was like, "Yo, find some clues, figure out where this thing belongs to. Drop those drugs off. Let's go.
But
Not your problem."
they also said that knowing that once the kid dropped the drugs off, the Albanians are going to kill him anyway, so they're like
Yeah, he
done.
exactly. That's what
Mhm.
Clooney was in the car, like, "All right, let this kid drop this thing off,
Right.
and we can go home. Everything's
Mhm.
good, back to normal." That was not the case.
Yeah. And then wow, this is I thought Brad Pitt had shot the guy because Clooney wouldn't, but he shot like a tracker, a
Bro,
tracer.
yeah, he
That
shot the
was pretty
tracker
dope.
and the thing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh wait, there's tracker in here. Like,
Yeah, just like, oh,
hey,
it's a tracker and like
I
some
I like the heart
dope.
of gold aspect of it. Like, it was just, it's a light-hearted romp of a movie
Mhm.
that's fun, and because the dialogue, these guys have been friends for so long that their dialogue feels
Oh
natural
my goodness,
when they're
come on.
talking.
They're like
It doesn't
twins.
feel like a reading the script. It just feel
No.
like, yo, these guys, they would do practical jokes like this, or they talk like this, which I like. I
You
like that a
know,
lot.
I'm so glad. You know what? I'm so glad you brought that up because it wouldn't surprise me if those guys they were just like sipping on some like tequila before they were
Yeah,
about
just
to shoot.
riffing.
Like you know what? Yeah, yeah. You ready, man? Let's do it. And it was just off the top. I mean, they wrote the script. They know this already, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
It,
yeah,
it that's to say, the interaction between the two of them is very, very natural.
yeah. It looks natural.
It does
Hmm.
not, like, they're acting for sure, but like it feels like this is how it's supposed to be, and it doesn't feel pressed or strained, or you're like, ah, come on, why would he say that? Like, everything felt natural,
Yeah,
and I think that helps the movie, because like, we're watching these two guys who I've seen in hundreds of movies. And I'm like, it didn't take me out of it. I'm like, yeah, these guys are, they're fixers right now. Like, it's fine,
yeah. You know,
right?
I thought when I first saw the like trailer, I was like, is this a spinoff of like one of the Oceans joints or what? I was just like, I don't know, but I was just like,
Yeah, that
okay,
trailer was
now they're here.
terrible.
Yeah,
That
the
trailer was
trailer
awful. I
was
was
like,
not gonna watch this movie.
yeah, I was just
That
like,
trailer was terrible.
But so they paid for the movie, they produced it, they created the script, the whole nine, they brought in their writers, their
Hmm.
directors, everything else. So they paid for this. Um,
Hmm.
and I'm quite sure
Yeah,
there's
basically.
some sort of a revenue streaming model where they're getting a percentage of who watches this probably, huh?
I don't know if you could do that for streaming. I think it's pretty, like, this is you get your check and you're like, peace out. Like, that's what it seems like for streaming,
I
because this is
think
not
on a
continual money. Everything's up front.
Can you imagine though that for just a second that okay,
Hmm.
you directed a film, we directed a film, and now we're trying to sell it. Someone sells it, we're able, someone
Hmm.
buys it, and then we can put it up on their platform. That doesn't mean
Hmm.
the revenue is done. It's just like I mean, if a movie
Nah,
house bought it
for
and like
streaming, man, that's it. You don't get nothing else.
really,
They cut you that check and you go away. That's it for streaming. Yeah,
so what
that's
are
what
they? So
actors
what's the
don't
check they're
like
cutting though?
streaming, and they're
What's the check they're
no, but
cutting though? Because they made the film, they put their own money in the film.
yeah, well, like, certain actors get a big check, but like, streaming thing. But this is what another reason why they want to strike this summer,
Hmm.
because they're concerned about AI, which is fair,
That's true.
and the revenue stream from
Yeah, from
streaming
streaming.
is
Yeah, it was.
trash.
Yeah.
You get way less in a streaming movie. I think a lot of these people are like, I gotta pay this thing. I gotta pay this mansion. Like, I gotta get some money right now. Like, all right,
Yeah.
I'll do a Netflix movie. Like, that's what a lot of stuff was, because for when this stuff started out, nobody wanted to be in these movies because the payoff is terrible.
Yeah.
You don't get a good payout. Like, the payout's
For real. It's
trash.
just like, and the other thing is like these streaming companies, they own the data. So they can like manipulate that
Yeah,
in any way,
they
just
can
like,
tell you, oh, you got 3 streams, so
yeah,
here's your
that's
here's
it.
your yeah.
You
That's
know?
it.
it's the same as like these digital music distributors. It's just like
Yeah, it's the
they
same
own the
thing.
accounting. They own the accounting. Back in the day, one of the
Hmm.
things you needed to do when you signed with a label or even like a major label or just like some sort of a small label is ask if you can have access to the accounting books. That's how you
Yeah,
can
you want to
tell
know like what's the
what's
real
going
count?
on, you know. But
How many things
here
did we actually sell?
in streaming is just data, dude. I can change a
It's
spreadsheet. I
different
can change
world.
this. I can change that. I can change 1,000 views to like 100 views.
Hmm.
It's so easy. But
Yeah.
because these are Hollywood, basically, this is Hollywood royalty. I
Hmm.
think, Apple was probably the best fit because I think on Amazon it would have just been trash on
Nobody,
Amazon.
nobody would have watched it on
Yeah,
Amazon. Like it doesn't matter.
exactly.
There's 2 billion people on
Yeah,
Amazon. There, no one's watching that
and
thing.
Netflix
I
they would have taken it and released it in 2 years.
Yeah, yeah. Like I think Apple made the most sense for them because Apple wants to be like, hey, look, we had George Clooney and Brad Pitt on
Yeah,
Apple TV, right?
right.
These other guys got this third stringer from somewhere that nobody knows of, starring in some action movie. Like, look, we got Brad Pitt. Like, come
Right,
on,
exactly.
get Apple TV. So
That was probably the same that happened to the Instigator. They were like, you know what? Apple TV is a
yeah,
bit more
Matt Damon.
prestigious. Yeah.
Yeah,
So what you say like Apple TV, it just feels to me like again, everything I've watched on Apple TV, with the exception of Ghosted,
which is
was
trash. That
right.
was
But
trash.
Ghosted, and we've agreed to this, it was trash in terms of the storyline, but the film looked great, right?
Yeah, the film looked good. The
Hmm.
actors were great in
Right.
it. Like they did their best with
Yeah.
what it was
So
terrible.
so you're getting this level of quality when you're dealing
Hmm.
with Apple TV, So I think a lot of people are saying, hey, you know what? We're getting better quality. There's just
Hmm.
there's a
Just
patina,
prestige.
yeah, a
Yeah, you're
prestige
right.
about like being on
It's a
Apple TV.
it feels
So
good. Like, "Oh,
yeah,
look at us. We're better than you.
exactly.
We're on Apple
S-
TV."
So I think like and again, if you really think about it, like who's oh boy who did Greyhound, right?
Mhm.
Tom
Yeah,
Hanks.
Tom Cruise
Tom Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks, yes,
Yeah.
sorry.
So again, Hollywood royalty. He was like, I can take Greyhound and put it on
Mhm.
Amazon or Netflix, and they were like, you know what? This is the move right here. Apple
Yeah,
TV.
yeah.
Hmm.
They for sure, big actors, they're getting a giant check from
Yeah.
Apple, and they're like,
Right.
"Hey,
Yeah.
you can come to our next streaming thing. We're gonna release an iPhone. You can come out to that." Like,
Right.
that's what
Exactly.
they're getting something like that.
So and Amazon would have just said, yeah, we'll give you 1 year free of AWS, and you'll be fine, for real.
Yeah, it's Prime Days. We're gonna get 20% off your
Right.
next purchase, right?
Exactly. Only on Amazon products, right? So
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
Wolves was again, like I said, it wasn't listen,
It was okay.
I
It was
watched it
okay.
on Sunday, dude, right? And
Mhm.
we've been like an overcast for like the last week. So it's been
Yeah.
raining every day, no sun, right? And that was the great time. The best time to
Mhm.
watch it at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. I was just like, so I was like, oh my
Mhm.
goodness. I wasn't even watching football. I was just like watching this joint. And I was like,
Yeah,
it's not
yeah.
bad. I mean, again, nothing to do. You're just hanging out. It's a great film if you're on a train or a plane, right?
Yeah, you want time kill some time?
Yeah.
This is the thing. It sounds terrible how we're describing it. It's just an okay movie. It
Yeah.
wasn't spectacular. It wasn't
Hmm.
terrible. It was just good.
That's it.
So it's like a 7.1, 6.5, just
Oh, wait a
regular.
minute. Is that your rating? I was about to get into rating. So
I'll
what's your
do a rating
rating?
right now.
Yeah, let's do
I
it.
give it 7.1.
Mhm.
Just it's just good. It's a lighthearted, feels good. You don't hate everything that you're watching. It's just thing. You're done. You forget about it right after that. Like
Mhm.
this is one of those kind of movies.
Yeah. You know what? I'm also going to give it a 7 because it was a good film, right? I
Mhm.
mean,
Yeah, it was good.
it was a good film. It was put together well, no
Yeah.
hiccups, nothing stupid. The
Hmm.
story arc was really good, right? It moved and it flowed properly. I thought it
Hmm.
was pretty good, man. And again, I watched it on a Saturday, overcast here. and it was raining, and I watched it started and I finished it in one sitting, and it was fine. So there you have it. We're talking about Wolves. This is an Apple TV original. Keo gave it a 7.1. I gave it a 7. Go check it out. Again, it's on Apple TV. It's a good film. Well, there you have it. Thanks for checking out another episode of the Behind the Groove podcast. I am Basil Barrington.
I'm DJ Keo.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And until next time, peace.
All right.